Hi, my name is Keith Fraley, co-founder of a company called 40Geo. You may or may not have heard of us, but we're based in Houston, Texas, founded in 2017. And what we are at our core is a geospatial analytics company. So we have about a 20-year background in doing geospatial analysis, primarily in the oil and gas industry. Over the last several years, we've become experts in doing real-time geospatial analytics. And what I mean by that is effectively monitoring sensors around the globe and deriving intelligence from what those sensors are telling us. Now, like I said, we're primarily founded in the oil and gas industry, but we've recently branched out into another vertical for ports and landed a contract with the Port of Houston to deliver what we call our port operational picture product. And that's really what I'm here to talk about today. And I really appreciate your time, and I'm not going to take up too much of it. So, like I said, 40Geo is a geospatial analytics company, and really kind of our mantra is unlock the power of location. And really, when we talk about the physical industries like a port or oil and gas industry, where things are matter. And the name of our company is 40Geo, and the 40 stands for four dimensions. It's the idea that geospatial intelligence really encompasses all four of those dimensions. So, the X, Y, and the Z, but also the time and understanding how time changes things, right? So, we turn what are called IoT APIs. So, IoT stands for the Internet of Things. It's the idea that all of these sensors that we mentioned are connected to the internet. So we turn those sensors into location-based intelligence. And really, we're a solutions-based organization, first and foremost. And what we mean by that is we try to help our clients solve real-world business challenges and not chuck software at them. We have strategically aligned ourselves with some of the biggest players in the software industry. The geospatial big one is ESRI, which I know many of the ports around the world use to manage their geospatial information within the ports. We've also partnered with AWS, which is kind of the one of the top two cloud providers in the world, cloud computing providers. We've also partnered with a company called Spire that does analytics from space. So they have a constellation of microsats that they're constantly gathering information about the Earth, and we help spatialize that information and serve it out to clients. And we've also partnered with a company called Elastic, which is kind of one of the big data behemoths that have kind of evolved over the last several years. Our solutions are focused in exception-based surveillance, the idea that we can monitor the movements of assets in and around specific critical habitat or areas and derive intelligence from that. We also are experts in supply chain and logistics, remote monitoring, situational awareness, and competitive intelligence. And our platform that we do all this from is a cloud-hosted platform called Raptor. Raptor Geo IoT is kind of what we call a SaaS solution. So it's software as a service. So we monitor and manage a cloud system that integrates very well into port geospatial infrastructure. So port GIS systems like ESRI. That's kind of where our specialty comes in. So we manage all different kinds of feeds, and we can handle the three V's of big data, which are velocity, variance, and volume. So we're very good at integrating those feeds, spatializing them, and putting them on a map or deriving intelligence from them. So specifically, what we're here to talk about today is a new product that we're launching called the Port Operational Picture. And really, this is the idea that 40Geo, in combination with their partners, can provide a holistic approach to kind of maritime intelligence, specifically in the port vertical. And so this product was kind of born out of a solutions-based project that we had with the Port of Houston. The Port of Houston was interested in monitoring in real time the movement of vessels all the way from Galveston through the ship channel, and in and around that area. And it wasn't just monitoring the movement of boats. I mean, that's fairly straightforward using AIS, but it was deriving intelligence about where those boats are going, how long they're staying there, and where they're going after they leave. And so what I'm going to show today is a series of demos about our platform and how it can easily integrate into the Esri system that most ports have adopted at this point. So this is what we call the port operational picture for the Port of Houston. What you see immediately is that you see lots of boats on the screen, some other geospatial layers like ship channels and loading areas. The highlighted circles in the blue and the orange are where we've gone in and highlighted specific vessels that are important to the port, like bunkering tugs, like harbor tugs, so on and so forth. So this information is coming in real time. This is coming in from our hardware platform that we've deployed for the Port of Houston, which is 3 LTE based AIS receivers. So the reason why it was important to have LTE enabled AIS receivers is because it allows us to control the network and not have to worry about networking these receivers with the port or other third parties. This allows just one-stop shop. Their kit that we build out internally and can deploy quite literally anywhere in the world through our partnership with Twilio. But what you see on the screen is effectively the movement of those vessels. On the left-hand side, you can see the Port of Houston berths throughout the port. On the left-hand side, you can also see the most recent vessel movements that are within the field of view of the map. In the middle pane here, we have a current status of all Port of Houston berths. So what vessels are currently parked at our berths, and what time did they show up? So you can see here the cargo vessel Molly Schultz entered C3 at Barber's Cup at a terminal at 11:37 a.m. And so what we'll do is we'll monitor not only the current status of those vessels, but when they leave, we keep track of how long they were there. So this is kind of a transactional log of the same type of approach, right? So we've got the tug Mazu entered the Barber's Cut terminal at 11:39 a.m. and left at 11:59 a.m. For a total of 19 minutes. And this is really kind of the core of what we do, which is the geospatial intelligence, the geofencing that allows us to derive intelligence and therefore products for our clients. So as we zoom in here, you'll see that you can see the boats moving about. And what you'll see is here you'll see not only the direction the boats are heading, the point of the boat and the name, but also the outline of the vessel itself. And we derive that specifically from the AIS feed that we manage. And just to kind of show that this is at 12:11 p.m., which is effectively right now. And really this is around kind of a real-time common operational picture of the port. And as we zoom around here, we can kind of zoom into some of the port facilities and see the boats. Hold on one second. And we'll zoom in right here and get kind of a real-time view of the Port of Houston berths and the different vessels that are currently parked there. So you can see here, this is the Molly Schultz that we were just talking about a bit ago. This is the physical outline of the boat. And to be honest with you, these the dimensions of the vessels broadcast from the AIS is usually pretty accurate, and it allows us to draw a very accurate outline of the vessel. What's interesting here is that you see bunkering going on. So this San Austin is a bunkering tug that is parked right next to this cargo vessel as well. And so the idea of monitoring the bunkering that was going on inside of the Port of Houston berths was very appealing to them, because that is one of the ways that they generate revenue at the port. So this is just kind of an example of some of the things that we do. Now, the thing to keep in mind here is that we also have an algorithm that monitors bunkering, right? So this bunkering that's going on right now is actually getting logged in an analytical type of way to keep track of not only what vessels were part of the bunkering, but what berth that bunkering took place at and how long those vessels were actually in that state. So this is so we mentioned the analytical components to the port operational picture, and this is one of the dashboards that we build out. Now the dashboards are completely customizable for our clients, but this specific dashboard gives you kind of a heat map of areas that have been spent the most in the Port of Houston. So the redder the color, the more time that a specific boat or a series of boats were parked at that vessel through space and time, right? So this report or the analytical dashboard that you're seeing here is for the last 7 days. So for the last 7 days, you can see 62,000 minutes were spent in total at the turning basin north side, and we can filter all of these things down. So if we just wanted to see what tugs were in specific areas, we'll get not only a pie chart of that area, but also a histogram of when the tugs have come and gone. We'll also do by specific vessels. So if we want to know this specific vessel, so we'll just quickly filter for the last 7 days. For this Lutsen vessel, we'll be able to tell from a timeline perspective, but not only that, but from a what type of vessel it is, what berth it was parked at, and what facility it was parked at. And really, this is kind of a Google approach to looking at kind of historical analytics. We not only have the ability to kind of filter by pie chart, but also by search terms. So if we wanted to search just specifically by wharf number 3 or by tanker, we could do that. The other thing that we offer above and beyond this is the ability to do the analytics at a massive scale. So we keep all of the history that we collect, and from that we can kind of go back in time and look at incident analysis. We can look at what parts of our facilities are most heavily used. And then the other thing that we do is competitive intelligence around berths that are just in the general area, right? So it may be a berth or a facility that is in the Port of Houston Authority's kind of area or jurisdiction, but it isn't one of their specific docks. So you may be interested in knowing what vessels were parked at a refinery or at a specific terminal that does X, Y, and Z. And so we also do that. So we monitor all berths in the area, not just the port's berths. And from that, we can provide kind of summary reports on those transactions. The other thing that we do is we look at the historical bits of all of this information. So we have what we call our AIS time machine, which is the idea that we're constantly monitoring and logging all of the history, and we can pause and rewind that information at a moment's notice. So what I've done here is just kind of recorded the last hour of time, and from that we have kind of a DVR approach to be able to replay incidents and so on and so forth. So you'll notice as I kind of go out here, you'll see the tails of the vessels. You'll start to see the boats move in and out. And all of this data can be panned and zoomed and also exported out to your standardized GIS infrastructure from ESRI. Above and beyond the ability to kind of pause and replay specific incident analysis is we also have a reporting engine that will spit out different reports on a nightly basis, on a weekly basis, or a monthly basis. So, we understand that you can't sit there and watch a map 24/7, 365. And so what we do is we have these algorithms that are running in the background that are constantly collecting this information. And then we can push that to you in the form of reports that you customize and that we deliver and guarantee those delivery, like I said, on a nightly or weekly basis. This is an example of last night's bunkering report. So the last 24 hours, monitoring the ingress and egress at specific facilities, not only so we monitor the from AIS vessel, so the one that's actually doing the bunkering, and the to AIS vessel, the one that's actually getting the bunkering, and then we calculate the number of minutes that are total there. And so we can roll these up, and then from that export into an Excel spreadsheet, you can do whatever type of pivot tables or type of analysis that you would want to do on that. So we do the same thing for just all transactions. So this is just a transactional log of the last day. And then this is a log of all facilities within the Port of Houston. This is just a kind of a demonstration of the hardware that we have deployed. So we have AIS receivers that are deployed, like I mentioned, that are LTE enabled. And you can see currently it's a self-contained holistic unit, right? So we manage the hardware and the software, and we just provide that back to you as a service. But these are 3 different AIS receivers that are being fed together to kind of give you the analytics around uptime and all that stuff. You can see that we're currently monitoring around 487 vessels in and around the Port of Houston. So yeah, that's kind of what the port operational picture is. We would love to discuss further with you if you have other questions about some of our capabilities and things that we can provide for your port. And we look forward to talking with you.